Yeah, thank you. Councillors, it's now 4 o'clock. We have 1 hour to finish our agenda. Whip of parties, please invite councillors from your party to come to the meeting. We have 1 hour to finish the meeting. Siyaqala umhlangano ngicela abasemnyango sibacele bangene. All councillors who are outside whip of parties, please ask those councillors to move to the venue. May I request the team from ICC to check the air conditioner for us? I'm getting a complaint that the hall is very hot. It's becoming uncomfortable to most of councillors to be in the meeting. ICC team, please, can you please assist us with the air conditioner? There's no water as well. Hey, nazingani ukuthi amanzi tamavalwe emeya ngoba benifuna ukumkhipha. Mhlawumbe ithi emeya angalethwa amanzi. Secretariat, let's also look at the issue of water so that we agenda. No, yazi ukuthi no impela kuze belula. Aphakathi webhala ngaphandle lapho. Aphakathi yeah, kuze belula. Yeah, ngoba bhala ngaphandle. Main agenda. Yeah. Councillors, may I have your attention? May I have your attention, please? Order. Order. We are now starting our meeting. I just want to address some few changes in the agenda. Please listen so that you can take note of what I'm going to announce.
Chairman.
Order, councillors. Order.
Where is the third supplement, sir?
On the main agenda. On the main agenda. We're going to deal with item 5. Yes, item 5.
Hawu, ninga-check awubhalanga ama-page. The speaker.
Yes, item 5 is in page 17. Please highlight that item. We are going to deal with item 6.
On page 23.
Item 6 is on page 23.
Item 9 is on page 28.
Page 23, item 6. Then we're going to deal with item 9
Page 28.
on page 28. Right? Those are the items that we're going to deal with on the main agenda. Other items will be deferred to a meeting that will be convened by the speaker, guided by the relevant provisions in our rules of order. That is the main agenda. Let me repeat. We're dealing with item 5, item 6, and item 9. 3 items only in the main agenda. Let's move now to the supplementary agenda. In the supplementary agenda, we're dealing with item 2, item 4, I'm moving fast.
Item 4, page 8.
Item 4 is on page 8.
Item 5, page 9.
Item 5, page 9.
Item 6, page 12.
Item 6 is page 12.
Item 7, page 13.
Item 7 is page 13.
Item 14, page 8.
I'm sure you are highlighting those items. Item 8 is
Page 14.
page 14. The last item is item 9,
Which is page 15.
which is on page 15. Let's repeat, City Manager. Item 2 is on page 5. Item 4, page 8. Item 5, page 9. Item 6, page 12. Item 7, page 13. Item 8, page 14. Item 9, page 15. Right. I'm waiting for a third supplementary agenda with the appointment of the DCMs and the COO. We'll deal with those two. Yeah, and the report from water and sanitation, then we close. All other items not identified will be dealt with in a meeting that will be convened, as I've indicated, guided by our rules. We have to finish this meeting by 5:30. All right. Let's move straight. Councillor Ntuli? Okay. The Councillor Ntuli, in his capacity as the chair of a court, is bringing to my attention the item from the executive committee on the appointment of the members of the board for the ICC. That item is also important. We are going to deal with that. Pemba, the city manager is going to look for that report, the page. Then we are going to tell you that all other items, all motions that I have received, ordinary motions and urgent motions, I want to persuade and appeal to the authors of those motions to understand the circumstances that we find ourselves. It's not because of our own making, collectively we take responsibility. We have dealt with the most critical issues for our council. Not allowing you to table those motions today is not a sign of disrespect. You will be afforded an opportunity in a meeting that will be convened soon where those motions will be tabled. It's just that I want to appeal and persuade you to understand and accept our plea so that the decision from the whips of parties of finishing this meeting latest by 5:30 is being honored. I want us to do that. I hope authors of motion will accept my explanation. Thank you very much. We are now move straight to the main agenda. We'll go straight on item 5. I will. Yeah, the main agenda, the item that Councillor Ntuli was talking about is item 14. Page
14, item number 2.
is item number 2, I'm sorry, is item number 2, page 14. Let me invite the Deputy Mayor to table the Executive Committee report
Speaker,
before I invite the City Manager to present the item.
Speaker,
Siyabonga Somlomo,
Right?
Whip of Council.
yeah.
Let me take Councillor Ngumalo.
Sacala usipha ikujani second supplementary speaker.
You don't have copies of the second supplementary?
No.
Okay. No, this is the one with the report from water and sanitation and those acting appointments.
Ale, yes. Oh, now I'm guided by my team that those items are in committee items. Yeah. Okay. Deputy Mayor, please table the report from the Executive Committee.
Speaker, Whip of Council, CM, allow me to table the first Mbigo we executive Siyabonga.
Thank you very much. Let me invite the City Manager.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The first report of the Executive Committee is from their meeting which was held on the 23rd of the 1st, 2024. Item number 2, request to approve appointment of 3 directors to serve on the board of Inkosi Albert Luthuli International Convention Center. Committee recommends.
Thank you very much. I think I made a mistake here, Mr. Manager.
No, it's the city
Yeah,
manager that's,
we are dealing with the main council agenda.
Yes.
The first,
Item number 2, if I
the
will.
city manager is
invite
wrong.
Bo.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Item number 2 appears first in the council agenda on page 14. Now, I've got speakers, right? I've got speakers in my list. The first speaker is Councillor Bekte, Councillor Kumete, NC from IFP, ATM Komeni, Action SA Mwango, APF Councillor Hlengwa, with minute donated by JEP and KZNI, ATEC with a minute for Mosa. Councillor Reddy has sent an apology, has left. Then we have Councillor Tuli, the last speaker on the list. In that order, Councillor Bekte.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Reddy gave me his minute, but I decided not to use it because I want to actually speak a little bit of sense. But I'm not going to speak long. And I want to say from the beginning that the DA will be supporting this because we know that we do need these people on the board. The request that we made, these people are not necessarily known to us. And as the city finds itself in quite a controversy around people being appointed without the verification of certain academic qualifications, we ask that the city make sure that in the first instance academic qualifications are verified so that we don't find ourselves in court once again should that not be the case. And that would also be applicable to another item which we're not going to handle now, is the audit committee appointment. So that we just ask for a record so that we don't have egg on our face later or find ourselves in court at cost to this municipality if these qualifications have not been verified. But in principle, the DA will support it, but that taken into account. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Bekte. Councillor Kumete, IFP.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It's a pity that we are requested to approve the appointment of the 3 directors after we know that there was a request of the report that was requested by one of the colleagues. After the ANC Women's League had a conference and we wanted everything to be tabled out front, who paid for the conference, and out of the 3 directors that were there at the previous term, one of them resigned, which also is very alarming to know that one will resign at the time where that report is requested. We so hope and wish to know that the 3 that are going to be appointed now are not here to cover up for the mess that was done previously. So the IFP will abstain in this item unless if we can find something that is tangible to state that there is nothing that has to do with the municipality and the payment that was done for the ICC. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kumete. Councillor Komeni.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to the colleagues. As the African Transformation Movement, we hereby support this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Komeni. Councillor Mwango.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, as Action SA, we find it very difficult to be expected to pass such a recommendation when there's a pending motion to disband the current board. We strongly believe that there's a need to go back to that motion, Speaker, So we can't really support, hence we'll abstain. But we want to call on you, Speaker. You promised that after the report has been released by CIU, you will bring back the motion. We'll want to challenge you, Speaker, to bring back the motion because strongly believe that the board failed to do its duties and also failed to make sure its accountability in this institution. So therefore, I think it's premature to go and do these appointments without dealing with the crisis that is happening in this institution because of the current existing board. I'm calling all parties not to really support this recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Mngongo. Councillor Hlengwa.
Speaker, with the heavy heart, we as APF are going to support a recommendation, but I want to echo the sentiment of the two last speakers, one from IFP and one from Action SA. Speaker, the idea of appointing people into a board is to ensure that there is accountability, also to ensure ukuthi izakhamuzi zeTheku zivikelekile. Okungidide kakhulu ke ukuthi there is that ANC Women's League issue that is still hanging, and as much as I want to ziba that thing, but the explanations that we are getting are not, they do not sit well, because you can't tell us that Women's League went to IEC in their conference and a Women's League is going to pay. Can they quality sign IEC? I mean ICC, I'm sorry. Equality sign ICC in a way. Speaker, get the protection yakho, Speaker. Speaker, naba bengithuka Speaker ngemali engingayazi. Speaker, ngiyafisa Speaker ukuthi singalizibele leyadaba uKhansela Mncwango aliraisile ngoba lizosho ukuthi kuzosala kune stigma esithi lama award abetholwa iICC abengekho right. Uma kuukuthi ICC yakwazi ukweletisa ngeveni yawo bese kukhokhwa lethi, nathi siyacela ke ikakhulukazi njengama parties amancane siuthole lo mnyango okweletisayo so that nathi sizokwazi ukweletisa sikhokhe later kancane kancane njoba kwenzeka, but in short we are supporting
Order.
the recommendation. Thank you, Speaker.
IEC.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Before one go into details of the matter, I just want to request that one day, Speaker, you need to take all of us as councillors to go to a workshop and understand when there's an item in front of us, how to stick on an item other than on talking other issues. Nevertheless, the issue that is before us is an issue that was presented to us for the process to start, because there were members of the board that has time that was going to lapse. According to umthetho wakhona la, uthi kufunala njalo in 3 months before abantu baphelwe isikhathi sikwazi ukuba replace. Now because ke bekuba khona ukudelay kithi sesifika kulesikhathi esikusona, ireport ke phangi kwethu ngoba iyonto enzima ukuthi ifundeke ukuthi ke sikhulume ngayo iqonde. Ithi ke enye izinto ebalekile, the Inkosi Albert Convention Center is an entity of the eThekwini municipality and is a jewel in the crown of eThekwini municipality. This icon facility is the home of many convention and historic events. The activities of the Durban ICC is an important part of the local, provincial, national economy. It contributes significantly to our local GDP and in job creation. even, even as we meet today, Durban ICC is hosting a historic meeting of African Continent Free Trade Area Council of the Ministers. This prestigious facility has an allocate of being Africa leading meeting and conference centers, an award which they receive in the World Travel Award held in Dubai in October 2023. In addition, we recently celebrated the Durban ICC achieving a clean audit for 2022-2023 financial year. We are proud that this represents the 9th time that this entity has achieved a clean audit. The need of having a sound government is a cornerstone of success entity and trustworthy functioning board with a good mix of skill in the essential. The effectiveness of an organization is determined by the quality of its leadership. A board of directors is the controlling mind of an organization and is critically to succeed, to the success of the organization. We note that the Durban ICC has 3 vacancies and that have got a proper process that was followed to fill it. And part of it was presented here to us, Speaker, before the process started. Taking that into account, we note that the candidates chosen to fill the vacant are in the position of requisite qualification and competence to serve in the board. We are very happy to support this recommendation and we look forward to these new board members adding the skill and experience to the board. Ubalulekile ke Speaker masisho ukuthi into ye board ayihlangani kancane nezinye izinto ezikhulunywa eseceleni. Into ebalulekile kumanje ukuthi ama members e board angashoti ngama members amathathu nje wasiwa add namhlanje. Ngiyabonga kakhulu Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Ntuli. Councillors, are the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Let me have the screen. Let me have the screen. We are voting. No movement. No movement. Those who are in support, please raise your board so that we are clear and we are counted. Those who are in support of the recommendations, please raise your hands. Are you done? Thank you very much. You may lower your hands. Those who are voting against the recommendations, please raise your board so that you are counted. Those who are voting against. Thank you. Thank you. Those who abstain. Those who abstain? Thank you very much. Those who are in support of the recommendations, 155. Those who are against, 24. Those who abstain, 2. Mr. Manager, let's move to the next item.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Next item is item number 5 on page 17. It's about the request to approve in principle the 2024-2025 draft eThekwini Municipalities Property Rates Policy. Committee recommends.
We are on page 17,
Speaker,
item 5.
Speaker,
I've got Councillor Penn.
Speaker, correction, Napa Speaker, IFP ayekho 2. Yes.
Okay, let's do those corrections.
Thank you.
Councillor Penn, Councillor Tengwa, Councillor the Mayor Kaunda. Councillor Penn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It would be a mistake to treat the approval of the proposed 2024-2025 amendments to the existing rates policy as a tick box exercise. The 2024-2025 amendments contain the seeds of some recognition by at least some people in the municipality's administration of 2 significant failings.
Point of order, Speaker.
Point of order.
Maybe I was not here when did we say we will jump page 16?
Speaker.
Because I'm a speaker there.
Hayi. Councillor Nkomeni ngicela ukuthi ubuze kumakhelwane ukuthi uvumene ngani.
Keep in touch, man.
Proceed, Councillor.
Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you. So we have at least...
Order.
Can I have my time back, please,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker? Thank you. Someone or some people deserve some credit for the proposed amendments, and I consider myself in that category because the 2 major failures which are now being addressed in the new amendments are both issues which I raised last year in my submissions in respect of the 2023-2024 review of the rates policy. Before getting into the details of the issues, I earnestly invite and request colleagues of all parties to join me in focusing attention on these 2 issues. Let's pool our information from the various residents and investors and other stakeholders, like ratepayers associations, who we engage with, to bring to the attention to the municipality's administration the need for the changes which I propose. The 2 major issues which the municipality has at last recognized are, firstly, the ridiculous effect of the high punitive rating of vacant land on investors and the people who create the much-needed buildings and structures which add to the rates base of the municipality. And the second point is the process for the implementation of the justifiable punitive rates randage on properties which are categorized as unauthorized or illegal development or use, an abandoned building or property. In respect of vacant land, the proposed amendment is to allow the owner of vacant land to apply for a rebate when the owner is in possession of approved building plans. That follows from the requirement that the owner must submit a copy of the building plans when he or she applies for the rebate. That is too late in the property development process. It can take a purchaser of a piece of land 2 or 3 years to firstly decide on the nature of the proposed building, then to have the building plans drawn, and then thirdly to have those plans approved. While all of that is happening, the purchaser is being bled dry by the punitive rates which he or she will have to pay for the 2 or 3 years of having the building plans approved. The solution is to create a category of property for rating purposes which can be called the vacant land under development category. The details are too technical to discuss here in full council, but again, I invite colleagues to discuss their suggestions in this regard with me. The other significant failure, which at least some officials have recognized, relates to the category described as unauthorized or illegal development or use, an abandoned property or building. I have in past years suggested that the 2 categories of properties which are covered by this wording are so diverse that they should be dealt with in completely different clauses in the rates policy. But I've been unable in the past to persuade the powers that be to make that change, and I'm not going to try to do so this year because there are bigger issues to deal with. I will continue to live in hope that one day the penny will drop. The proposed change of the official who imposes the punitive rates range in respect of abandoned and derelict properties from the CFO to line departments is a step in the right direction. But it does not go far enough to rescue the municipality from the blight of the thousands and thousands of properties which are either A, developed illegally, in other words, illegal construction, or B, used illegally on an ongoing basis, or C, which have been abandoned by the owner or have become derelict. According to information furnished by the municipality in October 2002, there were then only 566 properties in the whole of the municipality which were being rated as unauthorized or illegal development or use, an abandoned property or building. I think about a third of those must be in the ward which I represent. The rates policy has extensive provisions in Clause 11 to regulate non-compliant uses and the abandonment of properties or buildings. But it seems clear that the municipality is either reluctant to use these provisions or does not have the capacity to do so. Whatever the reason might be, the large number of properties or buildings falling into this category is a blight on the municipality. The municipality needs to clean up the landscape and restore some law and order and some credibility in respect to the enforcement of development legislation in the municipality. This can be corrected by introducing a mechanism which provides for any grouping of people, specifically neighbours and residents, to request the municipality, by way of a petition, to investigate the inclusion of a particular property in the punitive net of this category of property. Again, the details are too technical to explain here in full council. So again, I invite colleagues to discuss their suggestions in this regard with me also. With those considerations in mind, the DA supports the recommendation to adopt the proposed amendments in principle for the purpose of going out for public participation.
Thank you very much, Councillor Penn. Councillor Tlengwa.
Speaker, mina nginenkinga kahle hle ngawo wonke lama policies wethu. Ikakhulukazi le ye rebate ngoba sithi ngayo senzele ukuthi sigqugquzele ukuthi ama land owners asebenzise lo mhlaba ongasebenzile. We are simply saying we are drawing a lifeline to the land thieves by saying, please use the land. We will give you rebate, we will pay you before they expropriate the land. Speaker, we are talking about a property vacant. There is 840 hectares of land somewhere in Verulam. The owner yakhona is sitting somewhere in Germany, whereas abantu baseThekwini abanawo amathuna. Umasipala has been trying to buy zonke lezi indawo lezi abanikazi bazo bahlezi bagolozile nazo. Mina bengifisa ukuthi okungenani singasebenzisa umthetho ukuthi sizokurebate so that we encourage people to use the land. We must take back the land if the land is unused. There's another piece of land here, Mobeni Heights, just opposite Amatuna Mobeni Heights. It has been vacant for quite some time. Ukube ukhona umthetho esubeka ukuze sibaphoqa ukuthi mabengawusebenzisi sizothatha umhlaba. Njengabantu abantu basemlazi basuke emlazi bayongcwaba leko Adams. Emathuneni anganazo ngisho inamba umhlaba kodwa uhlezi awusebenzi. On the other hand, I feel that the use of a police dealer with an unauthorized takeover of land and buildings isebenza uma izobhekana nathi kuphela. Uma ungahamba nje uyela ngakumo road uhambe uyobheka kusuke emakethe kuze kuyofika epoint amabhilidi lawa abandonedwa abanikazi bawo ahlezi obhudi laba bangaphandle kodwa abethu abasekhaya abanazo indawo zokuhlala. Ngiyacela
order,
ukuthi
Speaker.
mhlambe speaker sibe
Order,
nendlela yokuthi sibe
Point of
neminye
order.
imithetho.
Point of order. Ngco.
Chair, I'm just checking if Councillor Hlengwa did declare interest because umngcwabi ngizokhuluma abangcwabi manje une interest kule matter. Uzokhuluma ngeendawo uthi kuphi ungcwatshwa kanjani he's got an interest.
Udlala wena Mngcwango elangalishonile.
Sifuna ukusingcwaba.
Qhubeka uzo declare maseniphumile.
Hayi,
Proceed
Speaker.
kaZahlengwa.
Speaker, ngasho ukuthi ngangumngcwabi, angene umngcwabi manje, ngangumngcwabi. Not now. So
Once emgcwabi, always emgcwabi.
so Speaker, bengifisa ukuthi mhlambe ibe khona indlela ukuthi lemthetho sikwazi ukuthi uma siyibeka ibe naku ukubhekelela ukuthi kakhulukazi abantu abamnyama abala eSouth Africa uyibona abantu layo ibalekela kangakanani as much as ngizwe colleague yami lapha from the DA ibalula ukuthi lento yokulinda iplan for 3 years iyabakhosta imali but thina we have been waiting for the land for more than 100 years. So waiting for 3 years until the plan is approved is a very short period of time. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Xolisi Kaunda, the mayor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mhlambe khona bangezwanga. My name is Xolisi Kaunda, the mayor of eThekwini municipality.
Ampere Mayor.
Honorable Speaker, let me thank all councillors who voted for the stability of this city. Honorable Speaker, the policy we are dealing with, there are minor changes that have been effected. We are not dealing with the policy in its entirety, but there are areas of concerns which the policy had to respond on those issues. So the policy has been reviewed and amendments are proposed to strengthen effective implementation of the policy, revenue collection, as well as to align with case law and legislation. One of the proposed changes relates to vacant land, and the proposed clause intends to provide limited relief to owners who have secured the approval of the building plan and in the process of building. So I would like to allay the fears that Councillor Hlengwa raised about how do we intend to change the property relations in the city. Indeed, we'll need to pay more attention, Honorable Speaker, on our strategy to distribute land so that we give those who have been locked out of the mainstream economy an opportunity. And our policy has started to respond to exactly those concerns that people have been raising. That these policies have been catering for those who have been in the system for quite some time. Those who have been locked out of the system have been left out in the mainstream economy. So we wish to give a guarantee that we'll continue to ensure that we distribute the land in such a way that especially blacks in general and Africans in particular do benefit. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, councillors. Are the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you, City Manager.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Next item is on page 23. It's item number 6. It's the mid-year budget and performance assessment report as at the 31st of December 2023. Committee recommends.
Thank you very much, City Manager. I've got speakers as well. My first speaker is Councillor Bekte. The second speaker, Councillor Nkomeni. The third speaker is Councillor Beasley from Action SA. The last speaker is Councillor Kaunda, the mayor. Councillor Bekte.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm not going to ponder on this long, but what I'm going to do is just highlight a few points here for those who did not have the benefit of reading the full report. Although I see the mayor's still got a scar here from dodging that one, but you know, there's realities as well. And just I'm just going to go through a few points, and I've made a comparison to the first quarter, and now we're in the half, and just to give us an indication of how quickly we are busy slipping back. In September, our loans were 9 billion outstanding that we owed. In December, 9.5. So in 3 months, £500 million up. Water losses increased from 53% to 56%. Scary that, but we say everything is fine. Unread water meters, we had 521,000 of them not read in September, with 63,000 not read for more than a year. Although it sounds very nice to say we've got 452 now read, which gives you about 60,000 read, 82,900 have actually not been read, and estimates are still being done, and some of them for over a year. The city has thus far incurred losses in the amount of 702 million for the year on water alone. Electricity losses are up by 1% from 10 to almost 11%. Electricity meters not read, 97,000 in September and 99 in December, 2,000 more that we have not read. This results in a loss of 158 million so far for the year, with a forecast of 500 million loss at the end of the financial year. Distorted and estimated billing with compromised billing and unrealistic arrears has seen the collection rate plummet to 86.96% in December, leaving 15,830 households in the dark over Christmas due to disconnections. There's absolute apathy from the municipality to address and rectify, with a popular approach to pay now. We look at it later. Yet years later, those residents are still lumped with historical debt. Fines and penalties. In September, we were 8.9 million rand down on the estimate for the year on income, and no speed prosecution was done. In December, that figure has grown to 19 million. Yet, we already see a substantive over-expenditure on security overtime, which begs, what exactly is it that the Metro Police does all day? As taxis stop, park and drive as they please, a robot is merely a suggestion. Driving or parking against traffic flow is just a joke. Double parking is the norm. You've probably seen it on your way in this morning. Informal trading, where the constraints of major arterial routes are not policed, but instead used as an EV spot of purchase. Yesterday I saw an informal trader trading on a freeway and a Metro Police vehicle stopping to purchase. Scary. License and permits, 3.7 million down in September, another 2.7 million down in December. Revenue related to cleansing and solid waste is being interjected as a loss of 150 million against the expected income by the end of this financial year. If you thought outstanding debtors reached an all-time high in September when we were at 26 billion, so 6.2 billion rise in the last year, wait for this. We're now at 28 billion. 2 billion rand more in 3 months' time. So come the end of the year, we're going to be over 30 billion at this trend. The continued failure to read and bill correctly is having an adverse negative effect on the ability to collect. For as we said, we've plummeted to 86%, which is below the 95% that we factored in to make the budget balance. And it affects, we now say at 93, that's the average. At the moment, we're only collecting 86%. Maintenance spend is at a mere 3.5%, while the benchmark is 8%. Grant spending by ETA in terms of the PTSG is only at 20%. Water and sanitation is one of the lowest performance in terms of the USDG, with only PRC coming in lower than water when it comes to spending the ISUP. Overgrown verges, encroaching branches, weeds in the streets, and uncut lawns being the telltale signs of reality. When the AG report confirms little more than a credible and accurate account of the financial demise of the ANC-led municipality, the Honourable Mayor would have the world believe that all is well in the city of eThekwini. The AG further confirms the concerns of the Human Rights Commission when it applies sewage that continues to flow into our rivers and contaminates our beaches. It is for that reason that tourists are favoring alternative destinations. It's against this background that the mayor boldly refused the public elected representatives opportunity to investigate, to first-hand ensure themselves and the public of the functionality of infrastructure, of the validity of sanitized information that seeks no more than subduing in the interest of squeezing more blood from the stone. It's because of these realities that the tourism occupancy rate in December was a mere 66%. Now listen to this one, rates clearance certificate. If there's one thing the city is good at, it's excuses. And no better example than that of the issue of rates clearing certificates. 69% of October applications were processed, with 85 and 87% in December. The reality is there is still a backlog going back to August last year, and in June last year, some of these officials did not process as much as one rates clearance certificate. This means that the real estate practitioners who are sitting there, who are reliant on the income of commission that have not been paid for 5 months. These people are in arrears, their houses are being foreclosed on, their cars are being foreclosed on, they cannot pay their cell phones because the city, somewhere an official, is sitting, not processing, a water meter is not being read, it's just put aside and give us another piece of Kentucky. We'll look at this tomorrow because nothing is going to happen to us anyway, because nothing happens if I don't do my work. Now, there's effectively only two options here. Either we collect the parking revenue for the 2 ANC branded vehicles that have been parked in the basement of the ICC for months, or possibly more successful, listen to the DA and dissolve this council. Afford all political parties opportunity to nominate candidates, even if they are presently sitting behind you, possibly photoshopping their profile with a green beret, so that the people can have an opportunity to elect those who have their best interest at heart into power before it's too late. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Pete. I made a mistake by omitting Councillor Anipen, who's number 2 after Pete. Approaches Councillor Nkomeni. Let me correct that omission. Councillor Anipen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we all know that the National Treasury distributes funds based on their monitoring of the municipality's spending patterns. Poor planning on the part of senior officials have resulted in the reduction of grants and other funding opportunities from national and provincial departments or governments. What we budget for and what we achieve shows a clear sign of underperformance. The city manager has a responsibility to ensure oversight of this performance and that of the city, and it is his responsibility to show capacity. Service delivery is at an all-time low, and it is clear with the increasing number of service delivery protests around the city that more needs to be done. The performance of the city as it relates to the mid-year budget assessment should be measured against the realities on the ground. The reality is no clean running water. Hundreds of households and citizens have daily electricity interruptions. Businesses are suffering. Incorrect billing remains an enormous setback, and the lack of consequent management continues to hamper proper implementation of the budget. The IFP notes this report, but has great concern that the city is fast heading towards disaster. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Anipen. Councillor Komeni.
Sibonga somlomo. Njengenhlangano i-ATM siyawamukela lo mbiko. Siyawamukela lo mbiko. Siyazi ukuthi le budget ibiyinhloso yokuthi kufezeke idingo zabantu baseThekwini. I-budget report wena ye-mid-year.
Point of order, Speaker.
Uzosingisa kuphela. Ngiyabonga somlomo.
Point of order, Speaker.
Point of order.
Speaker, I want to report the issue kamncwango. The entire Action SA, their behavior is unacceptable. Uma sikhuluma, thina babekhuluma siyathula, makhuluma thina njalo baloke bethrowa ama remarks angekho right, Speaker. Sicela ukuba protected.
Akulona iprefect le.
Thank you, Councillor Hlengwa. Councillors, please stop what you are doing. No disruption, no disruption. Councillor Beasley.
Speaker, at the end of December, the municipality has only spent 1.7 billion on capital expenditure out of an annual budget of 8.1 billion. This represents a paltry 21% spend. In terms of comparison with the year-to-date budget, the municipality has underspent on capital expenditure by a whopping 41%. National Treasury considers a variance of 10% as material. It is not surprising that National Treasury want the money back. With service
Your
delivery at an
time is
all-time...
up. Time is up. His Worship the Mayor.
Speaker. Speaker.
Point of order.
It's Kambule.
Yes, Kambule.
No, siyabonga Speaker, uxolo nje ukuphazamisa. We thought by 5 we will be finished. But siyabona ukuthi angathi kuyaqhubeka nekusazothatha isikhathi. So besicela as an EFF to be excused due to organizational commitment. So besifakile but due to ukuthi commitment ekade uyenzile speak ukuthi by 5 we've be done. So ingako sisirelaxile sangabhala. But we see ukuthi kuyaqhubeka isikhathi angathi siyaqhubeka, so can we be excused? With due respect, Speaker.
Order.
Thank you very much.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Councillor Kambule. You did indicate to me that you love to be excused at 5 o'clock as an EFF caucus, and yes, it's true. I made that commitment that you will be released when the time has arrived. You can be excused. Thank you very much.
Hey, police.
Nisale nohlengo.
Hey,
Asiphuma
kuthina,
Councillor Kambule.
le ngubo ebomvu
Asiphume
ziyasinda
ngokuthula.
futhi.
Siphume ngokuthula, singamemezi.
Councillor wase wa no one loyo.
Yeah. Councillor Beasley can proceed.
Nawe mi uyahamba.
Oh, okay. In fact, your time was expired.
Mayor, olusale ngala.
Now I was moving to the mayor. I was moving to the mayor. His Worship, Councillor Kaunda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Firstly, we'd like to highlight that we are currently operating in a very difficult economic climate with rising inflation, interest rates, food and fuel prices, as well as weakening exchange rates. This is impacting on the ability of consumers to pay for their own obligations to the municipality. However, the overall financial position of the city remains stable and sound. Anyone who wants to challenge the statement I'm making, I will take you to National Treasury for that. This is underpinned by strong liquidity with 7.7 billion rands investment or 61 days cash on hand. After unspent grants, there is 37 days cash on hand. The current ratio is 1 to 1.56 to 1. This reflects, Honorable Speaker, that the financial management strategies that are being employed by our municipality are effective. Accordingly, the financial position of the city remains stable and sound. I repeat that. The collection rate for December is 93.45%. The key challenges to revenue completeness are as follows. Firstly, growing debtors. The currently implemented strategy includes a targeted disconnection program and the debt relief program approved by this council. Good progress has been achieved in the debt relief program. In addition, there were over 15,500 disconnections conducted, which have yielded positive results. Water loss in distribution is a major problem and is an area of concern for us as a city. That is why we have employed some strategies to ensure that when it comes to pipe replacements, closing all the leaks that we are experiencing, that will make a significant improvement in terms of reducing the levels. But we also want to qualify and quantify what constitutes this revenue, non-revenue water. Because most of us sometimes we confused these figures. We think that 56% is the water that flows on the road, which is not the fact and the truth. But what becomes more practical when you analyze and characterize it correctly is that the water that we view them as the water that is non-revenue is when we supply water through water tankers, where we are not quantifying the water that we supply through water tankers. The water that we also supply to informal settlements and other areas and rural areas where people are not paying for such services. And we also need to ensure that through our strategies, we put in place, Honorable Speaker, bulk meters that will ascertain that we are able to quantify this water and make a good account of it to National Treasury as well as Auditor General and our residents. But the other area which I would like to raise on the operating expenditure is we have noted the areas of concerns. But there are issues which requires our immediate intervention. Firstly, to ensure that we pay our suppliers on time. We have improved that we now sometimes achieve 12 days against a benchmark of 30 days, but we still need to do more in this area. We also wish to highlight that cash collection rate will continue to improve through the strategies. The borrowing to assets ratio of 11.73% against National Treasury norms of 25% is being achieved. Water distribution losses are being attended to. So with all these interventions, we are convinced, Honorable Speaker, that we'll be able to turn the tide around, but we need to focus, we need to work together to deal with these challenges. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Are the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
City Manager.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We are now on page 28, item number 9, ratification of approval made in terms of Rule 28, Rule of Order 28, subsection 1B of the Rules of Order Bylaw 2014 as amended with respect to the civic funeral accorded to the late Dr. Mbongeni Ngema in line with the Civic Funeral Policy. Committee recommends.
Thank you very much. Item 9, page 28. I've got Councillor Nxumalo and Councillor Madlala, two speakers.
No, umntokabonge speaker, ithuba. Mhlawumbe umuntu aqale ngokusho ukuthi sifisa ukudlulisa ukududuza okukhulu emndenini okwambongeni Ngema ngokudlulelwa yileli qhawe elikhulu. Thina ke abale generation engazange izisibone lesiyasikhathi lesiyasale yamfundo. Iqhawe ke leli elawubhala lomdlalo sawubona ukuthi kanti kwakuphelwa esikhathini esifana nalesi. Ngakho ke le generation noma ingazange izikubone lokho yakodwa ngombhalo ngomdlala ubhala kwasenza ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sibone. Kanti ke futhi nanezinto nje imidlalo eyayibhalwa enza ama stage play kusuka abantu kwezinye indawo beze lapha edolobheni lethu. Ngaleyo ndlela leyo umnotho wethu bophakama kakhulu. Ngakho ke sithi ke impela ke kwenzeke kahle lokho ukuthi kukwazi ukuthi kube nemali ethize ephuma emkhandlweni ukuthi ihambe iyofaka isandla emndeni wakangema ukuthi ilekelele ekwazini ukuthi avaleliswe. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Thank you, Councillor Nxumalo. Councillor Madlala.
Siyabonga kakhulu Speaker. Yabonga kakhulu ukuthi umsebenzi wokukhumbula kanjalo nokufihla iqhawe lethu uMadlukovu waphathwa ngendlela enesizotha nekufanele ukuphelezela iqhawe elifana njengaye. Siyafisa futhi ukuthi silibonge idolobha ngokuthi likwazi ukuthi lifake isandla. Sibonga kakhulu babumeya no city manager ukuthi nilekelele kakhulu ekutheni kwenzeke lokho. Ebese siyanxusa njengombutho weANC ukuthi engathi ngaba khona ke nezinye izinto ezinye inhlelo esizozenza ikakhulukazi sicele kuMama Sokhabase ukuthi lapha ya ekomidini lakhe baqhamuke neinhlelo ezithize ngase sizenze ukuze siqhubeke nokulihlonipha igama laleli qhawe nokuthi igama lakhe lingapheli emlandweni wedolobha lakithi. Ngenxa yokuthi njengoba esho ukhansela oza kwethu lapha ngaphesheya ukuthi nakuba kumlando ongamficanga yena kodwa imidlalo ayibhalayo yakwazi ukuthi imsize ngokuthi imfundise. Siyafisa ukuthi ngathi nezizukulwane ezilandelayo ngakwazi ukuthi futhi siugcine ulokoza lomlilo awubasayo umfoka amadlokovu ngokuthi imidlalo ehlukahlukene iqhubeka ibe khona la edolobheni ekukhumbuleni igama lakhe kube khona nezinto esoyiqamba ngegama lakhe. Siyasupporta kakhulu lo mbiko, siyabonga ngathi umoya kaMadlokovu ngaphumula ngokuthula.
Thank you, Councillor Shlogo. Are the recommendations agreed, councillors? Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much. We are now in the supplementary agenda dealing with item number 2 on page 5, approval of the public participation process for the eThekwini Municipalities Annual Report for 2022-2023 financial year. Committee recommends.
Sorry. Somlom. Order. Somlom.
Yes, Councillor Kwala, you are recognized.
Ngiyacela in the absence of the mayor, sim recognize ukansela Umyeni as a mayor to table the second report.
Thank you. Councillors, you remember that we have identified pages, but before we do that, let me invite the Deputy Mayor to table the report of the executive.
Speaker, Whip of Council CM, allow me to table the second report of the Executive Committee. I thank you.
Mr. Manager, you can just give us the item and the page.
My humble apologies for omitting that part of introduction. We are on item 2, page 5, approval of public participation process for the eThekwini Municipalities Annual Report 2022-2023 financial year. Committee recommends.
Item 2, page 5. Right. There are no speakers. Councillors, are the recommendation agreed? Noted for nothing. Thank you. City Manager.
Item 4 on page 8, mid-year performance assessment report for 2023-2024 financial year. Committee recommends.
Item 4, page 8, I've got speakers. I've got Councillor Mtetra, I've got Councillor Anipen, I've got Councillor Ndlovu, I've got His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Lucy Kaunda, the last speaker. In that order, members.
Ngiyabonga, Mr. Speaker. I think this item, if you can see, Mr. Speaker, it came at a very wrong time, even though it is a legislative requirement that it is tabled here before council. But I think if you were to look at what has been measured here for the parent municipality at 70.52% performance, and look at that against the sad reality that is happening out there on the ground in terms of tangible basic service deliverables. I think we would all agree that what is written here on paper is not a true reflection of the lived experiences of the residents out there. That is why I'm saying it came at a very wrong time, because it is clear that it might have it would have been able to fool us. But if you get at a time where we are sitting here, we have people in Verulam who have not had water for more than 100 days. We've got people in the entire northern areas who have not had water for days, for weeks, for months. But here, we are told that the municipality's performance is at 70%. Now, it cannot be that we sit here and deliberate on these reports when in fact it is clear that we are misleading the people out there. But I'm happy and I'm hoping that through live streaming, the people of eThekwini are watching in their numbers, because the DA cannot endorse such kind of reports when in fact all of us as councillors here, we are suffering or struggling even to get basic information to convey to members of the public. I heard them, unfortunately is not here now, telling members of the public that councillors should be giving information to members of the public. What information must councillors give if information is not available? So it is very wrong for the number one citizen to go out there so that he can make himself look good in the eyes of the public and go there and lie about the councillors. If you want councillors to communicate, give them information to communicate. Equally, it is also the responsibility of the municipality to communicate. This municipality is very good at communicating when it suits them. During a time of a crisis, they don't mind going to ground for 3 days without giving basic information for members of the public so that they are able to plan their lives around what they are being told. Therefore, this 70-something% that's written here is a slap and a spit in the face of the ordinary members of the public who are suffering out there with no water, with no electricity, no refuse collection. Therefore, as the DA, we don't believe that this is what the paper it is written on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mchetwa. Councillor Anipen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we sit here today, residents in Phoenix in particular have had intermittent supply of water for almost 6 months. The situation is getting gravely worse. There seems to be a disturbing trend in this council that promotes bailouts of entities that constantly underperform. Consequence management is almost non-existent. Officials and employees of the city continue to do as they please, resulting in irreparable and irrecoverable losses of 3 billion rand. As evidenced in the AG's presentation earlier this morning, there's poor planning, bad budgeting, departments don't keep proper records, and a blatant disregard for the ratepayer that hinder the attainment of best outcomes. The IFP notes that this report has come at a time when the city has already collapsed. And Mr. Speaker, we are concerned that as we continue in this trajectory, getting gravely worse. It's a pity that the IFP's motion of no confidence was not carried today, but one can be assured that there will be a number of increasing protests throughout the city because people have become completely fed up. The IFP will note the report, but also makes a very clear point that unless the current administration is removed, this city will never ever progress. I thank you.
Councillor Ndlovu, they've left. The last speaker on the item is Worship, the Mayor, also have left. Councillors, are the recommendation agreed? For noting, are noted. Thank you. City Manager.
Thank you very much. It's the request for authority to finalize and sign the water use agreement and framework agreement for the Upper Umkomazi Water Project. Committee recommends.
Thank you very much. I've got many speakers. Councillor Bekte, followed by Councillor Kavenda, Councillor Mieni, the Deputy Mayor, with 2 minutes donated by the ANC, Councillor J. Naidu, Councillor Slengwa, with the minute donated by KZNI and JEP, then Councillor Madlala. In that order, Councillor Bekte.
Thank you very much, Jay. I'm going to leave the lion's share to my colleague to handle, but I think at this stage, what the cost of this is probably going to turn in around 28 billion rand, because that's escalated, because we've been sitting on our laurels for quite some time, and we know that this project is very much needed. We take note of the contribution by National Treasury. We also take note of the no-interest loan from National Treasury. But thereafter, the other half of it falls to the municipality, and although there is going to be a shared responsibility between those using, which will be Ugu even as far as Umgeni, the lion's share in this case is going to fall on eThekwini. Now, we know that without this, we will run out of water completely in the not too distant future, because this will also supplement the rest of the city, not only the southern wards. And it's in the short term, the lower Nkumasi, but the big one is the upper Nkumas. Now, the reason we're going to be signing here today, and probably I can't see that the council will not agree to it at the end of the day, but I do believe we should be lobbying national for more of a contribution, if not all. We are already a cash-strained municipality, although we perceive ourselves not to be. We are losing money left, right, and center because of water, sanitation, and so forth. And I do believe that we have to put a concerted effort from the municipality to see whether it can get a bigger contribution from national as opposed to leaving the burden on the municipalities to carry. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pector. Councillor Kavenda.
Thank you, Speaker. So, Speaker, I think my colleague has raised some very important points. And the reality is that the increased demand and the frail infrastructure are blamed for eThekwini water shortages. Now, we all know that there is a limit on the amount of water that can be supplied to residents in eThekwini, and Umgeni Utukela tried to increase raw water supply. But it's simply not enough. The Hazelmere Dam wall was extended at a phenomenal cost of 820 million to the taxpayer to accommodate for more water. But at a meeting yesterday when we asked for more water, they said it's not possible. And this was the shocking reply that we also received about the Durban Heights system, that in fact we are going to be going on a reduction of water supply. So this item tells us that projects at the Umkomazi water project will also result in a 55% increase in the amount of available water in our supply. And that would be fantastic news. Only it's going to happen in 8 years. 8 long years. Now, as I've said, Umgeni Utukela water is already exceeding their abstraction limit. They've been served with directives. So how are they possibly going to give us any more water? We have to wait 8 years. It will only be possible for the Water Authority to increase its abstraction of water from them after the Umkomasi water project comes online. And the projection date is 2032, as of yesterday's meeting that we had with them. 2032 is the time that's been projected. But this is 8 years of waiting, 8 years of suffering, 8 years of possible delays, interference, and of course, millions more plowed into this project. And the reality is the shortage of water in the city largely depends on the amount of water that is lost in the system. Our non-revenue water has increased from 37% in 2023. Billions lost in our own system. Now, in addition to the Umkomasi water project, the shortage of treated water in eThekwini has been from the protests that have been erupting across the city. The human rights violations, actually atrocities, are unfolding daily. And now we are saying to the community, you've got to wait 8 years before anything happens, before anything changes, before you can get a steady supply of water in your taps. There has never been any serious turnaround strategy. You know, it will be, I think I've seen figures or reports earlier where the cost for this raw water component was first determined in 2014. 2014, 10 years ago. And then it was adjusted again in 2019 to an estimated 23 billion rand solution to our water woes. Where is the urgency? Because now you've pushed it from 2014 to 2032. And we've been told that there's been a 2 to 3 years delay in the implementation. Why did that happen? Umgeni Water confirmed in recent media releases that several KZN municipalities, including eThekwini, balked at the cost of the new transfer scheme and had been reluctant to sign user agreements because of the concern that the tariff would be unaffordable. But 2 to 3 years delay, that is unacceptable. All the while, people are erupting in protests, people are getting shot, dragged, but at the same time, the reality is those valves will not make a major difference because of your supply-demand issues. The issues in the DH drawn out, and how long eThekwini municipality has been sitting with this matter, years. eThekwini must accept blame for this. I don't think it is fair for... Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kavenda. Councillor Meni, the Deputy Mayor.
Sibonge somlomo kufanele namhlanje sikushayele izandla ukuthi finally uzocela ukuthi si finalize le report because kubalekile ukuthi masikhuluma ngodaba lamanzi sazi ukuthi isinqumo esathathwa ngo1994 ukuthi abantu bonke basemzansi ukuthi bathole izinsiza abayidingayo zayicreator enye inkinga yacreateka ukuthi uma ngabe sibuka infrastructure yethu yaba flooded kodwa njenganamhlanje uma sikhuluma ngodaba lamanzi kufanele sivume ukuthi sine responsibility njengamakhansela alomkhandlu ukuthi udaba lamanzi sil prioritize kodwa sikwenza lokho kufanele siqikelele ukuthi ama challenges noma izinselelo esigcina sibhekane nazo ama challenges adalwa izinto ezi beyond icontrol yethu but kubalekile ukuthi uma ithuba likhona lekile futhi ukuthi ozakwethu uma sikhuluma ngodaba lamanzi sihambe siyozuma in ekutheni udaba lamanzi akuyona inselelo ekhona ezweni elithize kepha kuyinselelo kunezinselelo ezidila namanzi sikwazi ukuthi sheshe siresponde ngoba sonke siyazi ukuthi awukwazi ukuphila uma amanzi engekho njenga National Freedom Party sishayile izandla kakhulu
say that this report came at the right time in this council, especially when the city is going through the water crisis. We are going through the water crisis since 2017, eroded our infrastructure and eroded by implication our resources in terms of financial resources as well, because some of the pipes, nonetheless, we have a responsibility to fix it. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, another problem which some of the colleagues have touched on is the fact that delays, we are bemoaning the issue of the 8 years. The cost of not doing anything is far greater than the weight that is going to happen and putting back to circulation. Secondly, we need to explore other options. The issue of water harvesting for different homes and we are looking for. We had resolved as this council, I think, a while back, that we need to look at having another catchment area within near the CPD, because the catchment area is further upstream and there's a lot of rain that we're experiencing in the city, but all of that water becomes runoff and goes to the sea without us able to capitalize on that water. Now, with all of those options put together, it's not just going to be a wait in vain. It's going to be planning that we are going to push forward and ensure that while we are waiting, our people are not suffering. We support this item as the ANC Siabong.
Thank you. We omitted Councillor Naido. Apologies because it was Councillor Anipen. Then his name was crushed. Then next to him, it was Naido. I didn't say that. Councillor Naido, apologies.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, as the IFP, we would support this recommendation, but would want to bring to the attention of Council the fact that this project is being dragged for such a long period of time. And what have we done as eThekwini to ensure that we are not in this crisis position? I do not want to belabor on the points that have already been raised by previous speakers. except to say that we are here with the short-term plan of tankers, with the long-term plan of, with the immediate plan of finding leaks, and the long-term plan of getting this dam construction. And in particular, where the dam construction is taking place, is with intermittent supply, and even up to today, without water since December. And that is the situation that we are facing as a municipality. Isn't being done by eThekwini, and we supported or we put in a motion to have the mayor removed earlier. Motion should base what exactly is the issue with the crisis in eThekwini. The other issue that I want to raise is the surcharge that was implemented a few years back for infrastructure. Where exactly as those that and find out or get an exact amount of how much of funds were actually charged to residents, in that they now have to face this type of situation of not having water, because I would think this won't even take place in 2032, but actually in 2050. And I rest my case, Speaker. Thank you.
Councillors, are the recognition agreed? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The mid-year amendments to the service delivery and budget implementation plan for 2023-2024 financial year. Committee recommends.
Page 12, there are two speakers, Councillor Pekte and Councillor Madlala. Councillor Pekte.
Covered by Councillor Pekte.
Thank you, councillors. Are the recognition agreed? Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Page 13, item number 7, Honorable Speaker, is the service delivery and budget implementation plan quarterly report as at 31st of December 2023. Committee recommends.
Again, two speakers, Councillor Pekte and Councillor Madlala. Councillor Pekte.
Thank you very much, Speaker. In the interest of not saving time, I'm going to cover Councillor Madlala, but I'm going to tell him a quick story, and also to the Council. You know, here we sit, and if we look at this, we seem to be scoring 100% here and high here, and we go and we tap each other on the shoulder, and we then under the impression that we're doing well. But let me tell you a 2 minute. Whether you are coming from the west or the north, if you see anything, if anything that I'm going to tell you now, you relate to it, then you're going to have to definitely question the percentages that are being given. So this morning you leave home, the first thing is you can't get into the first road because the verge is so overgrown that you don't have a line of sight. As you turn, stops because there's no law enforcement, the taxi can stop in the middle of an intersection wherever they are. As you leave, the whole town reeks of sewage, of a pump station that's not been functioning for the last 3 weeks, and the water is going into your oceans and your beaches are closed. You turn onto a freeway that is so broken that your car probably is going to need tires, because coming in the M4, the road coming in is so broken. The taxis are all over because they put all in 2010, so it's a free for all. You go down a road that's got political posters on every post that does not comply with any legislation. Esplanade, Margaret Mungadi, the grass is so high that you can see it hasn't been cut for a long time. The homeless and the destitute are on the pavements, on the sidewalks. Make your way into the city and it is dirty. You get to a robot, it's not working. Not because there's load shedding, because it's not working. You get to another intersection, are regulating the traffic. There is no law enforcement in sight. Vehicles are double parked. Taxis are triple parked. People are all over, and there is sidewalk trading that does not conform to any health condition. Tonight when you travel home, Councillor Sabelo, take note. You're going to be going on the M4. Todd, it's pitch black. There's not one single street light that's working from here all the way to where I'm in town. The roads have got no street lines on them, so people are everywhere. It's dangerous. Let alone, let's hope it's not raining outside. It will probably take an hour back. And tonight when you arrive home, you're hoping for a shower. The reality is there's also no water. Last night, and it will only come back, hopefully, tonight, and then reservoirs will take 2 days to restore themselves. Those are the people that still have. If you're in Adams, you probably haven't had water or seen water for a couple of weeks, if not months. Electricity is something that you only hear about from friends because you can't see it on a TV because it doesn't work. That is a lack of service delivery.
Point of order, Speaker.
Yet we give ourselves percentages.
Point of order.
And then see if you can walk the walk and not just talk the talk. But maybe where Mr. Parag comes from, that looks much better.
Councillor
I don't know.
Berte, once you start,
You see, he
once
started.
you start some gestures,
Yeah. You know what? Maybe the apple falls a little bit close to the tree. I just thought I'd leave that with everybody. So when you drive home tonight and you see any of these, and it's applicable to your house, and it's applicable to your route, and it's applicable and affects your family, then think again. How did you vote today? Did you really vote with your heart?
councillors, before I allow Councillor Mandlala to address council, already we're over 5:30 that we have agreed that we're going to close our meeting. But the reason why we are taking time is because in terms of our rules, you are using time allocated to you when you are debating. I want to make an appeal because all the items that have been highlighted are important and very critical. I'm not intimidating you, but it's a request that I've done to those councillors who have tabling motions of which they accepted and cooperated with us. You have your time to speak. Can you please try to be short so that we don't delay council till late, because we made commitment that our meeting will be ended at 5:30. Can I appeal to the speakers to be short? Thank you. Councillor Mandlala.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll start from where Councillor Pietre left in saying that we support this report, SDPIP report for Q2. We understand that that's why it's called a plan, because it then it is then categorized into different aspects based on the IDP. Now, for instance, there's a plan that speaks to good governance and responsive local government. Now, for instance, if we are talking to that plan, we understand the principles of good governance, one of which is that we must have these meetings where the council officials table reports, we interrogate those reports, we pass the budget, we do all of those things. We have these meetings, as we say, we are going to have them, and all of those things. Now, if we have achieved that, like we have achieved having all the meetings that we were supposed to have, and our meetings are ran in terms of how the meetings should be ran, and everything that is, we are ticking all the boxes in terms of that, why should we not then award ourselves as officials of the municipality for having achieved that? That does not mean that someone who was supposed to cut grass in terms of the plan that he falls into and didn't cut grass because there was no contract or there were disturbances or there were reasons that were tabled. Because there's that, it does not interfere with the other plans. Now, I'm worried because it's an executive committee member that is raising these random issues of service delivery, which some of, most of which we know about. But at least if he said, this plan here, I disagree with the scoring because of 1, 2, 3. Then he goes back and says, this is what the KPI was, and this is what has been achieved or not achieved. That is why I'm disagreeing with that. Otherwise, but just going about complaining about every problem under the sun does not address the issue of the plans themselves. Because as the example I made, I'm sure the people who are responsible for good governance has done what they were supposed to do. There are areas where we've scored ourselves less, and those are areas where they need improvement. We support this, Honorable Speaker. Lastly, I want to say that myself and Councillor Pietre, we are different from the councillors here because we are executive committee members. We are full-time councillors. We are responsible for the day-to-day running of this city, and therefore we should shoulder the responsibility of half the things, if not everything, that Councillor Pietre is complaining about. With that, we support.
Point
the
of
report.
order,
Thank you.
Speaker. Point of order.
Thank you very much, councillors. Are the recommendation agreed? City Manager.
Oh, God.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We are on page 14, item number 8, authority to transfer funds to Y8792 for design, supply and installation of alternative on-site sanitation technology to replace pit toilets
Speaker.
within the eThekwini Municipal
Yes,
Area.
yes,
Committee recommends.
yes. City Manager, Councillor Cavender.
Speaker, can you give us a reasonable explanation as to why you are ignoring points of order from the DA caucus leader? Surely you heard him.
Which point of order?
I'll let him explain.
No, City Manager, proceed.
Speaker.
Councillor Tetwa. Tetwa.
No, on this item, Speaker, because I think it is linked to the item that was discussed at the executive committee's meeting. We have not been able to caucus, so can we please have 10 minutes caucus?
Which item?
8.
Or item 8. We have not caucused that item, and which item can we? Is only that item.
Yeah, because it is linked to this.
Can I give you 5 minutes?
That's fine.
Speaker.
Let me deal with the request for the caucus first.
I also want to add to the request.
Let me start with the DA first. Councillor Mtetwa, can I give you 5 minutes?
No, that's
so that we move. Can we agree?
Okay, it's fine. We'll do an EFF on you.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Madlala?
It was going to be a request that if you are considering that request from the DA, we should then encourage all the other parties to then make use of the caucus, to caucus all the other issues that are on the priority agenda that have not been caucused, so that we don't come back and the ANC then ask for another 5 minutes caucus for another issue, that we use this opportunity for all parties to caucus any other item on the agenda, on the prioritized agenda. Thank you.
Your proposal, Councillor Madlala, is very progressive and assisting council. Therefore, we grant the 5 minutes requested by the DA to caucus, but any other political party that they want to caucus item that have been highlighted,
Speaker.
you can use the time to caucus.
Speaker.
Councillor Ajen for caucuses, thank you.
Mthetho sehamba isikhathi, uyasibona?
But lawa appointed go
Uphuhlengwa. hlala phansi impemba lesikhwama. Siyoholela limpemba.
I-MK angazi noma ngizoyibiza ngomzala noma hey yabona sis
Oza ngapha mpemba. Thembo awuze ngapha enkatheni. Nayi inkatha.
Big boss.
Yes. How are you doing?
I left a message for you. You don't call me. I came to your office. How are you doing that to me? Look, how are you putting me under the bus? I'm coming and I want to come and see.
U5 minutes uphelile bo, asibuyeni. U5 minutes uphelile. Kwala, anihlaleni phansi, msani kuma endlini. 5 minutes uphelile. Ngeke sifuna ukugoduka phela. U5 minutes uphelile, uphelile u5 minutes. Well, endlini phela. Ngeke boyithi angeke nibize DA kwala. Wekwala. Kwala awubiza abahlobo bakho phela ngale ngesikhathi yakho.
MK lo muntu okhuluma ngayo.
Wekwala singaxabani. Awubiza abangani bakho ngale.
Angenze njani man? Ngoba ngiyasho mina omzala baba maqabane. Kusha lokho okunye manje.
Sicela sibizele umthetho ngalapho bu.
Nohlengo ade ehlalele la bekhokhasa lapha iSmartbrook kwenziwa lento kameya. Baphi nje manje abekho bonke.
Wemthetho. Ngizokuxosha lapho ngoba manje unezi 5 minutes uhambe hour. Umsebenzi wakushutha usawenzi kahle. Deployment lapho. Ufike list.
Thank you. City Manager, please check your seat. Anita. Bengayile caucus kade beyophuza iti. Tumzana. Obeka kancane itiye lakho lapho ngilangile amakhansela eminyango. Uzobuya uliphuze. Angumezela amakhansela nje kancane. Sizoqala la. Hayi bengithi ngiyibamba into ka5 hayi. Hayi iyashalela hlohlo kodwa iphunyuka la ifloor. Ibanjiwe la phezulu. First khuluma. Asikwazi ukuthula hlohlo. Ayibo.
Lesi shirt lakho hlokohloko.
Councillors, let's proceed so that we we don't waste time while councillors are moving in from, even my team here. Even my team, I don't have my team here to manage time. Wokumuntu sephumile. Awungicela bhekini ukuthi team ibuye ngoba we have to manage nebesikhathi la. Ikholam noma ngakhona ufuna ngimanage isikhathi la. The meeting you have to be recorded. Where is the team from the secretariat? Na base ya kokasa secretariat. Kokasa ma manage. Thank you very much. Let's allow the city manager to read the item.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. At the time of caucus break, we were seized with item number 8 on page 14, which was about authority to transfer funds for design, supply, and installation of alternative on-site sanitation technology to replace the pit toilets within eThekwini municipal area. Committee recommends.
Thank you, City Manager. Councillor
Referral backs.
Kuala.
Yebo somlo. Besifisa nje IFP ukuthi mhlambe le item sike siyibuyisele ekomidini lika chairperson uMvubu. Isizathu idinga discussa at a level ya human settlement ngoba isidingo se pit toilet sikhona kodwa ubulungiswa kufanele siyobenza bese ibuyi sifika sesoyidiscussa ngohlelo lwilona because it's a transfer of funds from a project ethile nayo ebaluleke ngesizathu sayo okuyi edila nama flats. So that was a referral back to a committee, a human settlement from the IFP.
Thank you very much. May I have the form for the reference back? But councillors, do you understand the point made by Councillor Kuala to refer back this item to the committee? While he is filling the reference form, may I get an indication whether the proposed reference back is supported or not? Are we agreeing with the reference back? There's no support. I will then.
Speaker, we did say yes.
Speaker.
I will then. I will then allow, once Kuala is finished, to write the reference back to motivate before we vote.
Hayi la sekusele 1 item 9 lokugcina lento sesingena ndawo abasubmit ya ishaqaba.
Thank you, councillors. The reference back has been submitted, seconded, in line with the rules of order. I've already got an indication that the proposed reference back is not supported. I will then invite Councillor Kuala to motivate. Order, councillors. Councillor Kuala is on the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Speaker. Yeah, Speaker, when we talk of project number Y9460B, Hillcrest Glenwood RD Rehab of flood damage infrastructure, we are talking about a project itself that is urgent. We've been received flooding. So if we take that money and we transfer it to a project that is going to, that is a project number Y8792, design, supply, installation of alternative on-site sanitation technology to replace pit toilet within the eThekwini municipality area. That is another huge project that need to be budgeted for. So it seems like we are trying to take the money that is essential for replacing the infrastructure. This project, Hillcrest Glenwood Rehab of flood damage, is budgeted 50 million. So now we're taking that 50 million again and we prioritizing the supply installation of alternative on-site sanitation technology. That doesn't add up on the planning. Why at first we put that 50 million for that rehab of flood damages infrastructure? If now we came and we are saying, and it never went to a relevant committee, the EXO deliberated on it as an emergency. Then the appeal from the IFP is to take the item back to the committee, human settlement and infrastructure. You give them time to deliberate on this issue.
Councillor Kuala, your time has expired. Councillors, I want those who are in support of the motion or the proposed reference back to raise their hands. Those who are supporting the reference back to raise their hands. Let's, Secretariat, please raise your board so that you are clear and then you are all counted.
khona ubale ngavotile lapha phesheya siyambona.
And please fix the action and say we are 4, not 3.
Thank you. You can lower your hands. Those who are not in support of the reference back, please raise your hands. Raise your pods, make sure that you are counted. Councillor Paisley, lower your port, yeah. Is that right? Thank you. Those who abstain? Those who abstain? Thank you very much. Those who are in support of the reference back, the number is 73. KZNI, you have not voted. They are here.
Yes, uvotile uthe usaya
KZNI, where are you?
support.
Have you voted? You are in support or against? You are supporting the reference back? Okay. Can you please? Yeah. Now, the support for reference back is 74. Those who are against, 96. Those who abstain, 1. Therefore, the reference back proposal have not been supported. On the substantive matter, I will then invite Councillor Kwala to debate. Councillor Kwala?
Somlomo.
Councillor Mteto, your hand is up.
Somlomo,
Let me take Councillor Mteto first approaches of Kwala.
Bengifuna ukuthi unginote che ngoba nami
Can you please speak close to your mic?
bengifuna unginote ngoba nami ngifuna ukukhuluma kule item.
Khulumani?
Bengifisa unginote ngoba nami ngicela ukukhuluma kule item.
Moshe Scott. Ayacela usubmit igama. Awuceli uvele nje ubhale uthi speaker ngicela ukukhuluma kule item. Manje la khona umthethwa nona khona ugwala akekho umthethwa. Khona uhlengwa khona uAyanda Ndlovu.
No, it's fine, speaker, ngiyazi ngizokuthola lapha.
Councillor Kwala.
Somlomo, ngicabanga ukuthi ungakhuluma mhlawumbe uze unqamuke uma ukhuluma nje namaqabane manje engakuthandanga sengakuthandanga. Kodwa noma eyazi lento ukuthi ibaluleke kangakanani ukuthi sikhulume ezingeni layo futhi mhlawumbe ingalekelela ngoba uma sikhuluma nje ngo-water and sanitation ilasting akhona ukuthi sibambisane ngalonke uhlelo ngoba kukhomba ukuthi nawo ama-flats lawa asilimazile izinto eziningi ikhomba ukuthi as from i-auditor general kukhomba ukuthi izinto eziningi ziqhamuka from water and sanitation and i-support asikwazi ukuyiprovide ngendlela eyona uma singabambisene. Kodwa as IFP siyovumelana nokuthi ke aqhutshekwe noma besifisa kubuyelwe ekomidini iyokhulunywa lelo khuzana. Kodwa mhlawumbe mawuthi khona isandla sempela siyoxolisa ke mhlawumbe kuqhunyekwe ne-item sebo.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kwala. Councillor Hlengwa.
Khona ngeza uKhansela Kwala ukuthi vele uvumelana nathi. Nama ngisale sengivumelana nokuthi siyavumelana ngokuqhubeka nokuprovide abantu nokuprovide abantu bakithi ama toilet. So see, yeah, support see African people first.
Thank you very much. Uyazi ukuthi ngixoxele. Ave ngahlonipheki ukubona umduko osehlupha. Yabona nami la itofle nje kubanzima ukumthethisa. Kodwa manje kusukela ekuseni nje umduko usuhluphana namhlanje. Manje na hayi sungayenzi council inkosi lento. Angikujwayele umemeza kwi-council. Ngikujwayele ngempela. Uyabona uCouncil uAnipen indlela ayiphethe kahle ngayo ngicabanga nokumnikeza award for a good behavior Councilor Anipen. Cabanga nokumakhele award special. Councilor Hlengwa, you have concluded the debate.
Yes, Speaker.
Thank you. Councilor Ndlovu.
Thank you Somlomo Sibingelele. Kubaba Meya amalunga eESCO. Amakhosi aseNdlunkulu. Lolu hlelo lolu esikhuluma ngalo la luhlelo oluqalo iANC ngaphansi komkhandlu waseThekwini emva kokubuka ukuthi indawo eziningi ezakhiweni endawo ezisemakhaya zisasebenzisa ama toilet angekho ezingeni nangokwezemvelo angaphephile angekho clean angasiniki nesithunzi somuntu. So ingakho ke siqale lolu hlelo oluthakaselwa kakhulu eindaweni eziningi moya ko Dazinok uya ko what 59 uya ko what 60 oThongathi uyabuka abantu bebhala bebonga belithakasela lolu hlelo okusho ukuthi uhlelo labantu lolu olukhuluma ngqo nokuthuthukisa indawo abahlala kuzona nokuqinisekisa ukuthi kubanika inhlonipho ngoba la ma toilet akhiwa ngaphandle kodwa ayaflasha okusho ukuthi indla isahlali ilo ikhona nje omunye afika uyakhona uya oyikhulula uyafika uyobuka lapha ubona into engekho yinhle kodwa ke kuuhlelo nje nezimpukane eziloyibhuza isekho ngisho kuba khona. So sifisa ukusho ukuthi lolu hlelo luhlelo nje lempucuzeko nokuthuthukisa abantu esilisupporta kakhulu ke nokuqinisekisa ukuthi le imali ezothathwa kulama project ayikho iproject ezophazamiseka ngala imali ezothathwa kuwona. So hayi ukuthi imali ikhishwa kulama project azoma azoqhubeka ama projects la kuthathwe khona le mali nohlelo luandiswe esikufisa kakhulu ukuthi engathi nale mali efakiwe inganda na kwi-adjustment siqhubeka imali beningi ukuze kuma wadi akhona seThekwini lusabalale lolu hlelo luwathinte ngobuningi bawo. ANC sisupporta kakhulu le report. Ngiyabonga Somlomo.
Thank you very much Councilor Ndlovu. Councillors, are the recommendation agreed?
No.
Let me have the screen, please. Let me have the screen, Secretariat. Those who are in support of the recommendations, please raise your hands. The Secretariat will make the counting.
Phakama Ntombi futhi
Sizoyenza oversight.
hayi kwala ungafika lapha ekhaya ufike ngikhombise ezihlobeni nakomakhelwane.
Kanti ifakwe emzini yamakhansela le pit.
Bengazi. Pelos Barwen.
Yeah, thank you very much. Please, you can lower your hands. Those who are voting against. There is a hand there. Thank you. Those who are abstaining. Those who abstain. Right. Thank you, councillors. Those who are in support of the recommendation, 114. Those who are against, 1. Those who abstain, 59. Therefore, the recommendations would be carried through. Thank you, City Manager.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The last item in this agenda before we go to the last bit is item number 9 on page 15, which is the request for authority to transfer funds approved by the National Disaster Management Center within the Reconstruction and Rehabilitation Program Underwater and Sanitation Unit. Committee recommends.
Thank you very much. Of course, speakers, Councillor Kavenda, DA, you are number 1. Councillor Hlenga, APF, you are number 2. Councillor Mgwengwe, ANC, you are number 3. 3 speakers on this item. Councillor Kavenda.
Speaker, if you can just give me a second to find my notes.
Speaker, we are all covered.
Thank you, Speaker. So, you know, this is an important item. It's 1.5 billion rand from the grant for reconstruction and rehabilitation. But truth be told, we are about 120 billion rand short of what's actually needed to fix the whole water and sanitation woes in eThekwini. Now, in this item, you're saying 228 million rand only of this grant has been set aside for water and sanitation projects. Yes, you put in there that there are other funds that are reprioritized for other projects through the council mechanisms, but again, it's simply not enough. The reality is that you keep rearranging the deck chairs, you keep declaring millions of savings in projects that are implemented but not completed. Now, every time we prioritize budgets, we are borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. How do you achieve savings when projects are still in implementation stage, not completed? Let's talk about eThekwini's non-revenue water, which stands at 58.2%. 45% of it lost through leaks, through various mainline pipes, main pumping lines, and storage systems like the reservoirs. Our non-revenue water has increased a whopping 37% in the last few years to now close to 60%. This amounts to a revenue loss of about 2 billion rand per annum. And why is that relevant to this item? Because we're giving a paltry few millions in this item when we could be putting in at least 2 billion rand per annum towards eThekwini's water woes. Now, Amgeni Utukela's program of action has been agreed to, where they are planning reduction in volumes. The water supply authorities and DWS supply from the water treatment plants will be curtailed, as I've said earlier in another item. Now, you've got water that's going to be supplied to the metro over the next 12 months that will have to be reduced by 91 megaliters per day. Do you know what's going to happen to the tail end of the system? It's going to crash even more. However, you are confident that Metro will implement its own water demand management initiatives to achieve savings. Has that ever happened before? And what have been the tangible outcomes? Yes, it's a rhetorical question. So while you lose the revenue in the billions and allocate a paltry few million, people are suffering. How about collecting that 27 billion rand in uncollected debt and give that to the water network? Give it the attention it deserves. You know, unlike Umkomazi that has to wait 8 years, and I was belaboring the point of 8 years, your last report about eThekwini's ability to resuscitate itself if it had 128 billion rand, that's before the floods, is that it would take 33 to 100 years before you can remedy everything that's wrong in eThekwini water and sanitation. And yeah, ANC, all on you. Very ably abetted by the EFF that runs that committee, one of the most critical committees here. And it seems like there is no political will to fix the water woes. You keep talking about a multi-party exco, trying to absolve yourselves from taking sole responsibility for this mess. Here we're sitting in a multi-party council, but who's voting for what? Who's voting for what? Silence. You've lost your credibility in implementation of projects, to finish projects within projected timeframes, and this is no different. Put the people first, make sure that projects are value for money, finish on time, and don't keep declaring savings midway. Then just maybe people will see some of the tangible benefits, and maybe people will stop protesting and getting shot on your watch. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Kavenda. Let's now take Councillor Tengwa. Covered, Councillor Mwengwe.
Thanks, Speaker. At times, we put more politics on issues that affect our communities. Again, it's important that like when we are having grants, we must make sure that like end of the day, we utilize those grants, because it will be looking like unfair for people of eThekwini, where we are having a situation where that we cannot utilize some of the monies which has been declared as savings, just because the planning of or the budget has exceeded the money that is needed by the projects. This money has been declared after there was a consultation with a National Disaster Management Committee, and they have an approval to this. And as eThekwini, we are now going to utilize this money for the good purpose. As the ANC, we welcome this report. Thanks very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mwengwe. Councillors, are the recommendation agreed? Thank you very much, Mr. Manager. Let's proceed with speed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
No. Where we are now, we're moving to the second supplementary agenda.
Yeah, this one doesn't have item.
Yeah, it have tabled first by the Deputy Mayor. Okay. Which one now are you dealing with? Is the third or second?
Third.
Huh?
Third supplementary.
We're dealing with the third now, eh? No. Third supplementary agenda, this one. Deputy Mayor, please table the executive report.
Somlomo allowed to table the third report of the executive committee. I thank you.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The third report of the Executive Committee from their meeting of the 31st of the 1st, 2024. It's on page 3, item number 1. The request for approval of unauthorized expenditure, construction of communal ablution blocks, underwater and sanitation unit operations. Committee recommends.
Thank you. Let me note hands of those who want to speak. Councillor Mtetwa, Councillor Nkosi, Councillor Mwango. Oh, Councillor, you can't be here now. Why you must be here? Councillor Pector. Councillor, you made a mistake. Councillor Pector.